Frame rate, believe it or not, is always a hot issue in video games. In this video, we're going to look at some recent developer comments about why 60 FPS matters so much to them. And we'll share with you a cautionary tale about how getting too worked up over frame rates can get you found out as a creep and fired for sexual misconduct.
60 FPS versus 30 FPS is a long-running argument among gamers on the internet. What's interesting is that both sides might say that the argument is completely pointless. The thing is, they disagree on why it's pointless, hence the damn argument.
Like a lot of people argue why our videos are pointless.
It's all pointless though, isn't it? When you
It's sort of, life's pointless.
Start peeling away the layers, like we'll all be on our asses, aren't we?
Is it nihilism?
Lying on the pavement like the end that Radiohead video. Weren't expecting that, were you? Deep.
Liam.
Hey, Liam.
Stop looking at your phone.
Nihilism.
Nihilism. That's what we are.
One Direction fans. It was a shite joke, so it's okay.
It was a dad joke. Name's on the tin.
One side might argue there's literally no point talking about it. There's no difference between 30 and 60 FPS. The other side might say there is literally no point talking about it. 60 FPS is clearly better PC Master Race for life. And I'm going to lay my cards on the table here. I personally think 60 FPS does make a game better, snappier, more responsive. And it isn't something that you see, it's not about how the game looks, it's about how it feels and how it responds to your controls. But does it really matter to me if a game has a lower frame rate? No, for me it's nothing that 10 minutes of actually playing the game can't make me forget about completely.
For the developer of Project Cars 2 though, the upcoming racing sim due out on PC, PS4 and Xbox One this September, anything less than 60 FPS would mean death. Death. Project Cars 2 developer Slightly Mad Studios, makes a fucking lot of sense, Slightly Mad, told GameSpot this week that the game will run at a bare minimum of 60 FPS. You're always pushing boundaries, COO Rod Chong said. If the performance starts dropping off or the frame rates are not maintained in the way that you want, that can be challenging. Our bare minimum is 60 frames per second. That must be 60 frames per second or death. The feeling of the car is not there if the frame rate is below that. Playing the game in VR at anything less than 60 FPS would start making players ill. The studio has apparently pushed very hard to optimize the game to get the frame rate high and stable enough. They're in competition with Forza. Recently they came out as saying that there will be 4K 60 FPS on the new Scorpio, and Project Cars are like a direct competitor of that. Is this why he's saying this? Yeah. Because this is why the big push, like 60 FPS or death, you know, committing seppuku if he doesn't get it right or something, I don't know.
It's death. Actual death.
An honourable death.
He's obviously just like joking around and like exaggerating how serious they are taking the performance and optimization of this game, promoting the fact that they've been working really hard on this game. It still is interesting though that a developer feels the need to come out and say 60 or nothing because that's how seriously we're taking this. And a lot of fans will be happy about this. I'm not a big fan of driving games, so I don't know, but maybe it like really does affect the handling of a car. So I can see how that can be important.
There's a big push for VR as well in driving games. If a VR game is less than 60 FPS, especially if you're driving and it's choppy, you will get ill, like you said. So it's servicing the fans who really want 60 FPS. Like, because a lot of people might not think that's important. Like Phil Spencer was famously quoted as saying in E3 this year, is 60 FPS important to you? Implying that 60 FPS isn't really that important to him.
He was getting interviewed by a journalist and he said, why do you care about 60 FPS? That's the other side of this. That's why I think it's cool that this Rod Chong fella has gone, oh yeah, we're taking it super seriously, 60 FPS or death. Because the opposite of that, what they have been saying in the past, 30 frames per second is more cinematic. Like, what? What?
It's more like the cinema because it's closer to the frame rate.
Because it's slower and shitter. So that is something that they've been saying in the past, and yeah, they've been laughed away for it, and it's been the topic of Reddit threads and stuff like, look at these idiotic developers saying that 30 FPS is actually better, trying to convince us of something that we know. It's a very fiery, passionate debate, 60 versus 30.
I think a lot of it comes down to, I don't want to say it, but it's the console versus PC debate, isn't it? It's people who play consoles are looking for some sort of justification as to why 30 FPS is okay. I play on PC and I really enjoy 60 FPS, and I notice a difference. When I play in console, I'm like, this isn't as good, but it's still playable. It's not as good, but it's playable.
There's certain games that I own on console, on PlayStation, and on PC. I've played it completely on PC and thought, you know, I'll fire it up and play it in my living room as well. Something like Mad Max, for example, the open world game, right? I go from PC to the console version of that, and I'm like, oh my god, why is it so slow? This is dreadful. This is so choppy. But after a while, you just think about the game. You're doing your complete objectives. You're thinking about the immersion of it. It's a very interesting topic because it can be taken super seriously, especially in like, you know, competitive circles and stuff like that. But then again, is it that important? I don't know. It's interesting.
Talking of taking it seriously, let's have a look at what we've got to say
next. Oh god. So Rod Chong puts a lot of weight in frame rate, clearly, and many fans will be happy to hear that. Another person who puts a lot of weight into frame rate was longtime Polygon video producer Nick Robinson. That's right. Robinson was sent packing from the video game website last week after a series of accusations of sexual harassment were made about him on Twitter. What prompted all of this? Well, the guy threw a piss tantrum over low, choppy frame rates in the game Overcooked on the Nintendo Switch. He complained about it in an article in Polygon, and when asked by the developer to send over some footage of the problem so they could investigate it, he took to Twitter and he wrote this. Please record a video of our shitty port being shitty so we can see how shitty it is. Well, that's a bit out of order. It all went downhill for Nick though when he got Twitter judo slammed by his own attack. Twitter user Bloody Honey said, maybe Nick would have time to help the Overcooked devs out if he wasn't in every woman in games DMs all the time. This is where it changes.
That response led to a deluge of comments from women working in video games about sexual advances over private messages on social media. Once those allegations were aired, Polygon editor-in-chief Chris Grant confirmed that Nick Robinson had been suspended pending a thorough inquiry. A short while later, Grant updated that Polygon would be parting ways with Nick Robinson, effective immediately. This is a very serious topic, but let's not forget how this all started. Overcooked was running at 24 FPS instead of 30 FPS. And Nick Robinson wasn't happy about it. What a way to crash and burn. What a way to crash. His life was going so smoothly, and then he decided 24 FPS wasn't enough. Now he's out of a job. He's been accused of all sorts on like, social media. Ugh.
It's why are you talking about this in a video about frame rates, you ask? Well, it's just he was so angry about it. He was like furious, and the developer asked him, responded to his complaints, responded to the Polygon article and said, we are going to look into this with our top men. His response was that pissy kind of, send me footage of my shitty product being shitty. And then there were people responding. Maybe if you calm down, they just want a bit of help to investigate the problems in their game that you've pointed out. And he's like, hey, who are you? Fuck off. Some guy called Landon.
Fuck you, Landon.
Landon steps in. Just Landon.
Poor Landon.
We
like
don't know who
he's
Landon
just
is.
trying to be constructive and offer him some advice. Why don't you just be constructive yourself, he said. Fuck you, Landon, he came back with. Well, he deserved everything he got. He was being an arrogant arsehole to begin with. On the top of that, he's been accused of this sexual misconduct or whatever. Add that together, and for me, it seems like justice is served.
Story.
Justice is served. Yeah.
What we're saying is, our advice to the hidden closet sexual deviants out there: if you're upset about something in a video game, maybe don't be so arsey about it on the internet, and you won't get found out.
So let us know what you think about the frame rate debate, whether you think it's important or not, and try and keep the comments down there clean. We don't want you charged with sexual misconduct or anything. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new around here. Check out another one of our videos on the screen here. Support us on Patreon if you're awesome, and we'll see you again in the next video. Until then, bye for now.